Hey guys, I was just reading The Richest Man in Babylon. If you've never read this book, you should. It's a super good one. I read it from time to time. Part of it's the motivation, part of it's just because it's such a good book and it's tiny. It's like 140 pages or something, and it's a quick read. Anyway, this principle: the riches of Babylon were the result of the wisdom of its people. They first had to learn how to become wealthy. This principle applies to anything we're doing, if it's when we're talking about finances or parenting or emotional intelligence or management skills, whatever it is, right? You first have to learn the wisdom, not just like the principles and what kind of works, but how to apply those nuggets of gold that you've learned over time, right? To apply them in the proper way, wisely. And it's talking about the money, and it says it filtered through the fingers of most of our people as quickly as the goat's milk goes through the strainer. Now the stream of gold has ceased to flow. Most of our people have nothing to show for their earnings. The king was thoughtful for some time. Then he asked, "Why should so few men be able to acquire all the gold?" The man answers, "Because they know how," replied the chancellor. One may not condemn a man for succeeding because he knows how. Certain people have found the ways to make money that they're good at, right? And then they just leverage that into more and more and more, and they've created just this huge amount of success in their lives, while other people make the same amount of money using their skills, but they spend it all and they don't turn it into any other forms of wealth building, and therefore as this says, their purse remains empty, while others have a constant flow into their purse, right? Some people rent forever, or they buy too big of a house right out of the gate, and then their entire income is going to someone else's pocket, whether it's because they're renting or it's because their house is too big and their payment is too big, and they only put none down or 2% down, 5% down, whatever, and they're making most of their monthly income just goes to their house payment and everything, and it's just the minimum, and they're gonna drag it out 30 years, or sometimes they refinance and even go longer, right? Well, if you buy a small house, you keep your payment low, you have enough to put down on your down payment. I guess you don't have to it doesn't have to be a small house, but you put enough down on your down payment that your payment remains low. So the margin between, your expenses and how much you bring in remains high. Then you turn that into an investment, right? Or you double up on your payments and just get rid of your house payment. You buy cars cash. You invest in the stock market. You buy real estate. And then if you get really savvy in certain areas, you find unique opportunities to be a business investor or an angel investor or a venture capitalist, things like that, right? Where you can then create other sources of income and wealth. So then you've got your income, your expenses are low, you've invested in different places, you've got cash flow there, your income just builds and builds and builds and builds, to the point that then you can, as Dave Ramsey says, live like no one else, right? So anyway, it's a cool book, and it's just a principle I wanted to hit on real quick, but it's all about wisdom, not just learning and knowing, because just because you've read a book doesn't mean you're good at it, right? That you're wise. It just means you've now learned, taken in a bit of information, and as you apply it, you will eventually gain the wisdom. So anyway, check that book out. I'm going to do a more comprehensive review on that, but I just like that principle. So we'll catch you guys later.